two interesting things here for soybeans that we're going to cover right now. As far as the first chart here, so I've been asked to talk about this China situation with all these buys that China's been doing recently. And by this red line, we can see these are weekly purchases of all new crop beans. So, for instance, we're selling right now not just a small trickle of old crop, but since we have new crop officially starting on September 1, as far as USDA's books, we are seeing most of the action over in the new crop. One thing I'm going to point out is we're getting these, look at this, over 1 million metric tons, over 1 million tons each week of new crop sales. Seems pretty good and pretty exciting. One thing I want to point out is look at this 2009, so just last year at this time, we're having the exact same thing just last year at this time. So these big sales, and as of course we saw up to 2.3 or 2.4 million tons for a peak there a couple times. So keep in mind, as far as these numbers, we've got big numbers right now. They are going to last through the, in fact, through all of August. So keep in mind, we could probably push this 1 million metric ton mark easily each week. So that's something interesting. Also, something of other interest here. This is the total to date as of July 29th that they've purchased so far, just under 6 million tons. It's actually a little bit under last year at this point. So some people could even argue that, you know what, these great China sales maybe even actually need to pick up a little bit to actually come maybe to equal to last year's levels. So that's also interesting to hear, the fact that we are behind last year's pace as of right now. The other thing I was asked here was well, how about, you know, we've been hearing talk on weekly numbers. How much does China need to buy each week? And Jim asked me to put this together here, so I went ahead and threw some numbers here. 2 years ago, so when China actually completed just under 19 million tons of buys from us, and that comes out to 359,000 tons. We're not done with this marketing year yet. In fact, we have till the end of August to finish up this one. However, year to date, 49 weeks, they're actually buying about 446,000 tons each and every week. That's what the average comes out to. So keep in mind, these are some pretty big sales, and we should expect to see these sales continue for soybeans. So for the near term, for the short term, until we get the crop kind of established, this is going to be a bullish factor supporting bean prices for right now. So keep that in your head right now. As far as weather, let's also kind of weather, and we'll actually go back into the beans here as we finish with the weather side. Right now, we've got hot temps seen for this week, low to mid-90s for some highs. Next week is a different story, 6 to 10 days. So next week, showing below normal temps. This is a massive change in the forecast for the entire Corn Belt. It shows as far as precip-wise, everybody's going to get ample precip. Of course, this little pocket here for western Illinois and Iowa. But for the most part, we don't have any major problems for the next week's forecast. One thing I want to point out is this map right here. This is the short-term crop moisture index, so it's just in the first 5 feet of the soil. Obviously, this is as of end of July, so about as of a week ago, we're not going to expect too much of a change from right now. As of a week ago, certainly ample moisture for most areas. One thing I want to point out, and we've been hearing talk of this stuff from the south. So southern Illinois, and certainly areas in the far south of here, some pretty significant dryness has shown up in the past 2 to 3 weeks. So we've got to keep that in mind. And obviously, as we know, they do plant some beans down there. And actually, I'd kind of written off the effect that the south had for us. I thought, you know, it's not that much here. But I did a little time today as far as checking and actually computing some numbers up. In the south, as far as those areas, and going back here, this is anywhere from all these southern areas, and also include these eastern areas as far as the coastal states. Does include Kentucky and Tennessee. 14% of our production here. So it's kind of interesting as far as most of our guys right now, even in the Midwest states, are saying, you know, corn is great, beans are okay, I'm not sure about the beans here just yet. These guys in the South, which do run a little bit more than I thought as far as production, these guys are having no problems here. So it's going to keep that in mind here as well, that maybe that's another factor which may keep this bean market up for right now at least, going through next couple weeks. And as most of you guys know, this is a key time for making bean yield during this month right now here. So a couple reasons why we may see the bean market stay up here. As far as the big picture, does this change anybody's mind? And you know what? We're not going to see anything like that as far as our opinion right now, and here's why. For the numbers here we got plugged in, this is 42.9 is what we're expecting for yield right now. We're just saying no change from USDA. And USDA last month said, you know what, we're going to have a big ending stock, 360. we've got no arguments with these guys, 366. In the big picture, this is not going to, these short-term issues aren't going to change anybody's minds. So we're still saying, as far as beans, this is a bear market once we finish up with August and we move into harvest. Over on the corn side, one thing I want to point out, we are going to jump yields up a little bit here. 163.4 is what USDA had last month. We're pushing ours up to 167. We should be about the top of the range for the yield guesses here. But most guys are going to probably say maybe a 165, I guess, 166 kind of seems the consensus here. Newswires will give us some numbers here, I believe, tomorrow. But with our numbers, we're going from a kind of tight 1.3-ish to up to a 1.5. But the main point is, on Thursday, we should see USDA bump ending stocks just a little bit here for corn. As far as corn positions, things like that, you know what? We're at the high end of the price range right now, and we're going to go down to 333, I believe, as our fall harvest target for December corn. Over in the wheat, we do have some kind of stuff, some things we will talk about here on Thursday's report. So I put together some estimates. We've got for some current crop sizes. Blue bars here is Russia. So here's last year Russia. And here's what USDA has done with these new crop numbers here. So May, June, July. And of course, we have taken declines for Russia. Keep in mind, right now, SovEcon, one of the groups that came out over the weekend, says 43 to 44. That's about a 10 million metric ton drop from USDA's last month. That's a pretty big drop. As far as the other one here, Ukraine, which is in the red bars, the average talk right now may be a 2 to 3 million metric ton drop here. So as far as the wheat, this market may say, you know what, we think that wheat is overpriced, but let's wait at least to see what USDA says on Thursday. Maybe that's one reason why we're also holding things up a little bit here on wheat right now here. As far as numbers for wheat, USDA last month had a pretty bearish number. They actually added to their ending stock number over 1 billion bushels. We're going to drop ours a little bit here because we are going to respect the fact that we are going to pick up some of this business that was going to go to Russia and Ukraine and Kazakhstan. We're not going to get the bulk of it, but we're going to get some of it. And what I have right now is us maybe picking up about 75 million bushels. And if you think of the total shortfall in exports, you're probably looking at 300 to 400 million bushels. Like I said, I think the U.S. at most will pick up 75 right now. So overall, as far as the wheat, we're still saying prices are at the high end right now and they'll move lower. As for our trading positions, for right now, you know what, we got to say the trend is still up for corn and beans. So we still have a little supportive trades out. Trying to buy for the very short term. December corn 406. That's actually quite a bit away from where we are right now. We may revise that just a little bit here. Soybeans are trying to buy the Nove at 1004. That's actually a little ways from where we are right now as well. One thing I want to point out with both these type of short-term bullish trades is we're going to have some risk reverses plugged in here. Meaning if the market does break, we're just going to get the heck short and get that done here. So for the short term, I don't expect grain prices to drop at all really this week. Wait until Thursday's report. After that, and once we kind of move and get this bean deal settled as far as the yields, then we think lower prices are set here. As far as the wheat, one trade I do like, which I think is fantastic, we talked about in the office Friday afternoon, December $9 calls. December $9 wheat calls. They're over $1.50 out of the market. We sold some here this morning for 29 cents. $1.50 out of the market, and you can sell those December $9 calls. In fact, they're going to settle at maybe 34, 35 cents here today. So you can do a better job than we did here. So that's one thing that we are getting active on and just trying to make some money for the short term.